What's up, you guys? Johan here, the gym monk, and today I'm going to discuss calories. Is a calorie a calorie? Now, if you read the title of this video, you'd know that I'm probably going to say something that's going to be controversial. It's actually not. There was a study done on this. Processed versus unprocessed foods really matter in terms of how much energy the body requires to actually digest and assimilate those calories. In the study, they showed that there was a significant difference between the amount of energy that it was required to digest a processed sandwich versus an unprocessed sandwich. You can see a big difference in the amount of calories required to digest the food. Now, if you're eating a large amount of processed food versus a large amount of unprocessed food, let's say if you follow the if it fits your macros, IIFYM, then they'll say that there isn't a large difference between the source of calories provided that you eat the right number of macronutrients. However, this is scientifically untrue because, as I show over there, you could project out the caloric difference, and if you're eating 1,000 calories of processed food versus not eating that processed food and eating it as whole food, you're probably going to see a massive caloric difference, enough to actually make a difference in your weight loss journey. What's very often not discussed is that processed food is very poor in micronutrients. I'm talking about vitamins and minerals. Things like zinc, sodium, potassium. Well, usually sodium is quite high in processed food, but potassium will be low, calcium will be low, magnesium will be low. There won't be enough zinc. Vitamin A is going to be deficient in most processed foods. So why do micronutrients matter? Micronutrients matter because they're actually some of the fundamental building blocks required. Zinc is required in many chemical reactions within the body, so is calcium, magnesium, potassium. And if you have an insufficient amount of these chemical reactions actually cannot take place, and your body begins to stop doing certain processes because it simply doesn't have the raw materials to carry those processes out. If your body is unable to put together amino acids to make proteins because it's lacking in the minerals that are the cofactor minerals, you're not going to get protein transcription at the cell level, and you're not going to grow any new muscle no matter how much food you eat. So the quality of food really does matter. A calorie is not a calorie. You need sufficient micro and macronutrients, and very often processed food will not give you this. Now, processed foods aren't completely off the table. You can eat a small amount of them and it probably won't affect most people too badly. But you do need to remember anything that you eat should not have a lasting negative impact on your well-being, cognition, or health. For me personally, as much as a quarter of a guava could completely ruin 2 whole weeks of my life, and I might make a video about that sometime. So you can have a small amount of processed food and you will probably not suffer too tremendously. However, if it becomes the majority of your diet, if you're getting a lot of calories, not only are you going to be burning less as the food comes in, the digestion process takes less calories, but in addition to that, you're probably going to become slightly deficient, or let's say suboptimal, in micronutrients, and that is going to lead to a poorer outcome of health, performance, and well-being. And ultimately, we're here for well-being. At least I am. My advice is to stick to whole foods the majority of the time. At the very least, 80% of your diet should be whole foods. It should come from micronutrient-dense food sources. Many people will find that the processed food throughout the day will cause digestive issues, and that cup or two of vegetables might not agree with your stomach either. A very simple example is that certain fruits and vegetables can cause gas, they can cause bloating, they can cause digestive distress, and even activate autoimmune conditions. Grains, seeds, and nuts are notorious for causing autoimmune conditions, or at least exacerbating them or activating them. I myself eat very few seeds, nuts, or grains because of the fact that I react to most of them, and many of my clients, I get them off seeds, nuts, and grains almost immediately when they start working with me if they have anything approximating a digestive issue or an autoimmune condition. The other big important thing about calories is that the particular macronutrient source of calories does matter. Proteins use a lot more energy than carbohydrates and fats do to be digested and broken down and assimilated. This means that if you replace, let's say, carbohydrates, some of the carbohydrates in your diet with protein, your caloric count may look the same at the end of the day. There is actually a net change in energy expenditure. It can potentially be beneficial for you. So if you're struggling with satiety, you're hungry all of the time while you're trying to diet, maybe increase the protein. Protein is very satiating, and in addition, it burns a little bit more calories than carbohydrates do, actually quite a bit more. and will give you a little bit of a leveraged advantage. I think something that a lot of people don't realize about food and processed versus unprocessed food is the appetite component. When you are deficient in micronutrients, there is a considerable drive of appetite that occurs. The body becomes hungry, seeking to fill that micronutrient need. And if you're just shoving things in that don't have the micronutrients you require, you're going to have an elevated appetite constantly because the body is trying to meet the need that it has for those micronutrients. If you're deficient in zinc or magnesium, you're going to find that you're going to be hungry all the time or very often, and you're going to be wanting to eat all the time, never really being satisfied because the body is not seeking more calories, but it's seeking more micronutrients. And that's all for today, guys. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, would like me to explain more about reactivity and food, or any of the things I've spoken about, leave a comment down below. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.